The great
Pause.
has spoken.
Good morning. Welcome to the land of Boz with Jeff Bosley.
Oh, sweet mother of God, it's Friday. I know I don't have a regular work week like I used to when I was in the military or even college jobs, but mother of pearl, I need Friday to be here and be done with. So, here we are, Friday. Thank you, everyone. 5 days of this show. I really appreciate it. Let's kick it off and get on moving. Now, admittedly, I wanted to start the show off bitching and moaning about my experience at the VA. But I'm also trying to be a little bit more positive and optimistic and a little bit more failing at having my cell phone on during the recording. But I'm trying to honestly be a little bit more optimistic and positive and not let things toxify me. So, beyond saying I'm really disappointed in the VA, I will move on to more happy, optimistic stuff before we kick off the show proper. I want to... Actually, this will be a good counter to my poor experience at the VA today. I want to talk about giving back. Anybody that's ever seen like the meme or the commencement speech done by Arnold Schwarzenegger, there's one of his 6 steps of success is one of the steps is something like giving back, plain and simple. And I experienced that frequently, but it wasn't until last night where I kind of acknowledged it and truly accepted its value or its worth. But in this day and age, in this society, in this hustle and bustle and constantly busy climate we live in, giving back isn't exactly something that's easy. And none of this is patting myself on the back or being braggadocious. It's not the most conducive thing, especially because 9 times out of 10 giving back, is free or ends up costing you money. And not that the money makes the world go round, but it's a lot of times the reason we have the jobs we like or unfortunately don't like is because we need to make money and pay bills. So giving back, charities, fundraisers, volunteering, it takes time and sometimes money or both. But for whatever reason, I'm very lucky and fortunate and grateful in that I have created or sometimes unfortunately have time to give back. And this last 2 weeks has been particularly focused on that. It's been good for my soul. Helping others helps you. And I wanted to just kind of express that to people. If you have the opportunity to give back, volunteering or charity, yeah, it takes a little bit more time and effort to get out of bed because it's most of the time it's self-accountability. Nobody's going to hassle you if you don't make it. But having something to get up and go for like that helps. I've been volunteering at a ranch where we clean and take care of the horses and all that with a good friend of mine that I met at a acting class. We're going to actually audition for a program together, and it's just nice to have a reason, a pure reason to do something. I'm not getting any money out of it. He lets us ride his horses, but it's nice to do that and give back and have a reason to help others. Excuse me. And a little bit more, I don't want to say tangible, but a little bit more, meaty. I don't know, whatever. They both have their purposes because equine therapy, especially for vets with PTSD or victims of all various sorts of trauma, getting a very thousands of pound horse to trust you and like you instills some sort of peace. And I can see why equine therapy is good. It's good for me because I'm not there for the therapy per se, but it's good for me because it brings me back to my youth, my home, Idaho. I'd go to rodeos and I remember the smell of horse manure and cow manure and dirt and the horse trailers have a certain smell, trucks with diesel, leather gloves. That's therapy to me, is sitting there being around that. So it's just a blessing for me to be around that. And then the other thing I've been doing, I just started last night, as a matter of fact, this charity, it's called Young Storytellers, and it's for, I believe, 5th graders. So what is that, around 10 years old maybe? 5th graders, I'm sure. It's a 10-week program where we help young, creative kids write a movie, a short film, and we write it, and we're not obviously making them out to be world class, perfectly formatted script and screenwriters, but we embrace their creativity and nurture it. And it wasn't until I was there where somebody made a comment about how a lot of times that kind of mind isn't cultivated and nourished. I grew up in a very nourishing and loving household. I was very fortunate, but for some reason, as Jeff, I self-imposed practicality. I was raised by a physician and a stay-at-home mother, and to me, practical businesses and careers made sense. Thus, my military and firefighting career. I loved them, but they were inherently quote-unquote practical. And it was really cool. This one woman said something about how this program is really amazing because it helps kids have that opportunity and that venue that I know I went to schools where creativity was, it was there, when you did creative stuff, but it wasn't like a program per se. And I was really amazed to see, I think there were 14 or 16 volunteers there. Actually, I won't name names, but very, very famous comedian was there volunteering his time to help with this screenwriting program, and it's called Script to Stage, I believe. And like I said, we take 10 weeks, we write it, we help them with the audition process, and it's a fun little thing for these people. And then sometimes these kids inherently in these schools, the ones that want to be artsy fartsy in theater and the arts, they typically sometimes might not feel like an avenue to express that, and this is for that. And so it's really cool to not only provide that for these kids, but it also is really cool to see 16 of us volunteers being there for that, at 6 o'clock at night when we could be at home with, I don't have family here, but we, these men and women could be home with their family, or, it's really cool to see that. So the point of all this is if you can find a way, and anybody who knows me, I say that phrase a lot, but it's true. If anybody who knows me knows, I work hard, or I work hard at working hard. So I'm always trying to work, basically. I'm always looking for work or working at working. And if I can find, again, the horse thing is 8 hours a week. The kids program is another hour a week. So that's just for the sake of time, just round up to 10. 10 hours a week is a lot. And I'm very lucky in my career with the way things go, that I'm willing to live pretty thin financially and to be available for this kind of thing. So I'm lucky I can have 10 hours a week. That's asking a lot for some people, and I'm aware of that just logistically. But if you can find 1 hour a week, it takes a while, just like anything else. Starting a new muscle memory, starting a new pattern of life it's hard. But if you can find something to give back 1 hour a week, it can actually be rewarding. It can help get you out of a funk. And I'm not like in some cave of depression with sharp objects, but it gives you a purpose, when you might be in a rut, or you might just or like for me in the Hollywood world, I'm at the mercy of a lot of people. They choose if I'm allowed to work, despite how much I can create my own content to be in the next, Expendables or the next Marvel movie. I have to be in the right place at the right time, and they have to choose me. So it gives me a sense of purpose that I kind of had been lacking for a while. So it's kind of nice. My opening I didn't really mean to get that long-winded, but my message today is really give back. Find a way to give back. It doesn't have to be grandiose, because if you make it too big and grandiose, the more likely you're not going to be able to sustain it, and you might end up resenting it. So realistically, give back. Find a way. It's really interesting how it'll make you feel. I've heard that before. I'm not like an overnight convert where everything's peachy, but I do admit it's truth. So find ways to give back. And with that being said, we will continue on to what the crap happened in history today.
Extra, extra! Read all about it! Life story of Playboy Penny! Extra, extra!
Good little batch of entertaining things that happened on the planet today. Left my fan on. Again, I pointed it out, and I'm jokingly whining, but to get this audio somewhat tolerable, all my air conditionings and fans have to be off, so I'm sitting here sweating for you. This day in history, October 5th. I'll get to the good ones. Bunch of irony. 2003, gentleman named Grizzly Man. Timothy Treadwell was killed by a grizzly bear. It's sad. It's kind of the Steve Irwin, the crocodile hunter. Sad irony. But there's actually two documentaries that I highly recommend. There's a film called Grizzly, and then no, that is the documentary called Grizzly Man, or Grizzly. Check it out. It's really awesome. But he died today. Moving on. Not really, not a lot of good stuff. Let's see. This was creepy. I did not know this. Granted, I was only a couple years old, but 1982, 264,000. That's right, 6 digits. Bottles of Tylenol were taken off the market because somebody had laced them with strychnine. The killer has never been caught. How unsettling is that? We buy those bottles and we take them pretty trustworthily. I can't fathom. I don't know how they're made, but I can't imagine they do a chemical check of every pill at the end of right before the bottling. Very terrifying to be thinking about it. So, moving on to slightly funnier, happier things. Larry Moore Curly, Mr. Larry Fine was born today, 1902. The original Three Stooges. Back when comedy was simple and/or we were simple. Because if we were to watch it now, it is that I think maybe that's where slapstick came from. Hold, please.
It's the hold music. Hold music.
Found it. Not what I thought, but it's not too far from wrong. Slapstick literally were I should know this coming from theater, 2 pieces of wood that were fashioned together so when they slapped another person, it made a much more exaggerated sound. It was typically used in absurd comedies. Let me think. Commedia dell'arte in the 16th century, so 1500 time. It was 2 pieces of wood that made a slap sound when you hit another actor, and it was typically in the absurd comedy stuff. So that's where slapstick humor came from. So that's a really random offshoot of 1902 Larry Fine of the Three Stooges being born. However, this day deserves to be celebrated by me. Yes, today, Karen Allen was born 1951. I love me a feminine yet tough woman, and Karen Allen's character in Raiders of the Lost Ark exemplified every trait a man could look for in a woman. When you first meet her, you think, she's a little too tough, she's scary, she's punching people and drinking a lot, which is kind of awesome too. But then later when she gets, I think they're in Egypt or Cairo somewhere, and she puts on that nice white sundress. Yeah, Karen Allen, God bless you. I completely should have ended on a high note with Karen, but I will end on a high note for what this guy provided us as far as us OCD organizational fanatics, and it's pretty much changed the world. Let's not kid ourselves. Today in 2011, Stephen, I guess, if you want to call him that, Stephen Paul Jobs passed away. Founded Apple Computer in 1975, famously out of his parents' garage. And the rest, as we know, is history. And lastly, on this day, 2004, gentleman that passed away gets no respect. I hope that made people smile because it was embarrassing. 2004, Rodney Dangerfield passed away. I did not know he won a Grammy for being as a comedian. The movie I grew up watching him in was Back to School in 1986. I was obsessed with that movie for some reason. I need to rewatch that, but that's everything that happened in history today. And now here's the part of the show where I come out of the closet, the nerd closet, that is. So here we go with Talk Nerdy. Nerd! That still makes me laugh. So today on Nerd Chat, I still don't have really names for the segments of the show. I pretty much change them every time. Today I want to talk about sequels, prequels, reboots, reimaginings, revisits, whatever you want to call them. The thing that brought this up today is I saw on Chris Hemsworth's Instagram some video from him doing a new Men in Black with the woman he did Thor Ragnarok with. And I wanted to kind of share my thoughts, and you're obviously always welcome to email me, fans@jeffbosley.com, if we want to establish a bitch session or a gripe session or some sort of session where we possibly agree. But my thoughts on them are sporadic and random. The Men in Black one, I think sequels where they lend themselves to being different characters, because the Men in Black, it's in the name men, plural. There's more than one. So those ones kind of lend themselves to kind of have their own little spin-offs or sequels without the original characters. Obviously, the first 3 Men in Black, I think there were 3, were all the original, excuse me, the original actors, Tommy Lee Jones and Will Smith. So, but I think Men in Black is a movie or a franchise that lends itself to have other characters without having us roll our eyes and go, oh God, they couldn't get the other people, so now they have these people. So I think Men in Black 4, whatever they're calling it, is definitely one where it's going to end up working. However, we've all seen, I don't know, especially as you get older, we're all seeing things reimagined and rebooted and revisited. And there's like 2 sides to that coin, even in TV. If you think about the shows that are killing it right now, Hawaii Five-0 has been on forever, and that's based on an original show. SWAT was based on an original show. Magnum PI is coming back. MacGyver, I think, is still on the air. And these are all shows I grew up with as a kid. So it's just kind of like Peyton and I were talking about yesterday, where it's kind of like, well, when you have this baseline to compare it to, you kind of never feel like you're fully satisfied because you've experienced the OG TV or movie. But if you think about it, if it is a new audience, you know, there's the argument of people, you know, there's no more original ideas, and maybe that is I can't fathom being a screenwriter and having a new idea that isn't accidentally plagiarizing somebody else's. So yeah, they might not have a new idea, but it doesn't necessarily mean because it's not new, it doesn't necessarily mean the audience is expired. Maybe the old audience is expired, so maybe the people that grew up with those shows as a kid, I might not be a fan of looking at them, which I kind of am not, because it's kind of like you fell in love or you liked the original one, so it's kind of hard to watch it again. I actually at this moment can't think of anything based on something I've already seen as a kid or growing up that I like. The only Star Wars reimaginings was the one where they brought back my OG Star Wars people, was when they brought back Harrison Ford and Carrie Fisher and all that. Still not the best Star Wars, but I'd rather watch that than Solo, because to me, Harrison Ford's the original Han Solo. But yeah, so I'm not a fan of, I won't probably watch the new Magnum PI. I won't watch the new MacGyver, so it just kind of depends, but it's not my thing. But, you know, some shows, good Lord, some shows a lot of people don't know, or they just haven't heard, like the movie The Fantastic Four. If I remember correctly, I think there are, again, I have no direct source to this. I just heard about it on the internet, so it must be true. But I believe they actually, for Sony, I believe owns the Fantastic Four. For them to maintain ownership, I believe it's like in the paperwork, they have to churn out a new Fantastic Four every so many years so they can maintain ownership of the property. And, you know, it is is it Marvel? God, I should know that. I'm pretty sure they're Marvel. 99% sure. 40% sure. But yeah, it's kind of obviously in the wrong hands. You know, Spider-Man's a perfect example. Sony owned it. They churned out 3, which I've yet to see because I just haven't, for some embarrassing reason. If you just heard a weird groan, it's because Izzy's just kind of laying here being mopey or something. But yeah, so Sony's 3 attempts at Spider-Man, I guess they had mixed reviews. But of course, the minute they were like, okay, fine, we'll work with Marvel, they knocked it out of the park with the Tom Holland helmed one, and they already got a sequel being shot. I believe they may have just wrapped in Italy right now. So yeah, there's especially those movies, it takes a lot to hammer out the sequels, you know, and sometimes there's a business reason to it. Sometimes the actor gets too old. But I mean, hell, what's his butt in the first Spider-Man? The dude was like 30 playing a kid, so it all depends. But that's kind of that. So yeah, not a fan. But I'm also, hell, on the flip side, I'm a massive sucker for sequels. I will watch any sequel just because I'm curious about it. Like Expendables, Stallone's movies, perfect example. I don't care how obvious and cliche and fill in the blank stereotype we think they are as an audience. We still go, and he still wants to make them, and it's his job. He can do whatever he wants. You know, anybody can, for that matter. And so, yeah, I'm the first one in line. You know, they'll get me with a gimmick anytime. You know, whatever Expendables it was, where they're like, Harrison Ford's in this, and I was like, oh my God, how can it get any better? And they're like, oh my, and Mel Gibson. I'm like, oh my God, how can it get any better? And then Wesley Snipes, oh my God. And then, I mean, they just hit me with gimmick after gimmick after gimmick, and I was like, you know what, fine, I'll be there. So we'll still go. And I'm a little biased. I'm a Stallone nerd, and I'm super huge fan. And then also as a guy trying to work in the city in the industry, I'd kill to be in one of his movies. I actually auditioned for Creed 2 to play not Apollo, wrong skin tone, to play Ivan Drago's son, the main bad guy in Creed 2. It's ironic because had I kept my beard, I probably might have got at least a chance, but they called me in for an audition, which was huge to even get called in and asked. But I was like, well, they needed him to be younger than I am. And so I went babyface, clean shaven, which made me I didn't look intimidating at all now that I've seen the actor they cast. However, they cast a boxer who they taught to act, not an actor who they could teach to box. So there's two schools of thought on that one. You can probably guess where my school of thought is. Actually, that's a good thing for my acting section. Acting, hire the actor, not the skill. Good note on that. Thank you for tolerating me while I typed. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on sequels, prequels, and reboots and all that stuff. And, you know, like I said, it's open for discussion. There's always arguments to be had. But and again, it sucks because the city, even though it is artistic, it's a business, you know, so there might be things that are, quote, less pure as far as intentions, because at the end of the day, they got to make money. It's got to be a business. So if the movie gods themselves could say, hey, make a sequel to X movie and it will be guaranteed to make profit, people are like, all right, that, you know, I'm pretty sure profit is profit is profit. You know, it's hopefully it's a good movie as a bonus. But I think a lot of times we can almost certainly guarantee that when you hear one of those sequels or reboots where you're like, what the you're kidding me, you know it's for a profit. So that is my thought on the nerd world of sequels, prequels, reboots, reimaginings, revisitings, re-ings. And today's segment on acting, I just came up with in the segment prior to this, so I think it'll be a good little rant or dialogue or something to consider for all you actors or filmmaker people out there. Check it out.
Well, I'm an actor, right? So I gotta keep my emotions right at the surface, you know?
Acting and special skills. It's a very interesting conundrum or debate, especially as a veteran in the military. There's definitely two schools of thought to a lot of them. And before I even get into it, here's my answer and here's my thoughts on it. It's acting. Hire the actor. All the other stuff is incidentally a good bonus. You don't hire a doctor. You don't hire a construction worker that used to be a doctor if the doctor has to perform surgery on a construction worker. You hire the best doctor. If he happened to be a construction worker prior to becoming a doctor, fine. He knows what it's like to be a construction worker. And that's a really crappy metaphor, but you get the point. It's acting. It's playing pretend. Now, yes, if you have prior life experience or prior jobs or careers, obviously that would help build the character and help add to the character or the character you are portraying and building. That goes without saying. But to blindly assume the special skill or the previous life career is priority over the actor, that's crap. And I say that, and it kind of can shoot me in the foot because as a vet, there's a lot of movies and TV shows that are based on weapons handling and special forces skills and all this crap. So some, I won't even use vets, but just in general, a lot of special skills or vets or what stuff, you'll even see it at the casting directors will put this up saying must be real firefighters. It's like, why? How about you cast actors? It's an acting job. And then from the boohoo whiny standpoint as a starving actor, if they're real firefighters, they have a career with a paycheck. Hire actors that need work. It's kind of a slap in the face. Luckily, as you know from this podcast, I have a lot of weird backgrounds, so I can actually plug into a lot of spots, which is fortunate. But here's a perfect ironic example. There was an audition for a role that it was a commercial, which I'm not going to get into commercial versus theatrical, but commercials, it's not so much acting as it is existing. I mean, it's not like you go home and spend days building your character. But this role for this commercial required you to be a current or former firefighter. So I got the audition. I went there and did my thing. Didn't get it. Later saw the commercial. It was there was no dialogue for the characters that were the firefighters. It was all like audio, voiceover stuff on the commercial. And the visual was firefighters making a salad and sitting down to dinner and eating it at the fire station. That's why they had to be prior firefighters. So it makes us actors looking for work almost go, you know what, I'm just going to lie and hopefully I don't get called out, which, you know, it opens up a whole nother door of issues, because then you got people lying and creating, you know, bad apples, ruining it for all of us. So it's catch-22. Like, here's a nice little gray area example. When they say must be a real doctor, we'll get into it on some other segment about what I was as a Green Beret. But as a Green Beret, I was basically, for way offensive simplicity terms, I was a Navy SEAL doctor. So I could, for the sake of a commercial or film, portray a doctor and adequately walk the walk and talk the talk, know the lingo, know how to pronounce the right words, all Latin based, etc. If until they start going, let me see your doctor's license, then yeah, that's where I wouldn't go to that audition. But you know, it's kind of bullcrap, and I don't know if it's a stand to take, because that firefighter eating salad example, it kind of makes you always think twice about going, you know what, do they really need a doctor? And again, it goes back to the other example, a surgeon in Hollywood. I'm pretty sure they got a good paycheck. They can take care of the families. If you're using them to take away work from actors, that's bullcrap. So with all that being said, it's a little ranty, but also the takeaway that I try to do is I try to honorably coast that gray area center line and be both. I'd like to think I'm a good actor. I try to actually take a lot of acting classes and do my best to be a good actor, because the assumption is because he was a special forces Green Beret operator firefighter, he's not gonna be able to act for squat because he has this look and he's muscles and tattoos and can't act. So I really work hard to combat that assumption. But then also the flip side is add to your skills, be able to enhance that resume, because yes, had I not been a Green Beret, it'd be hard to act like what they need me to act like in a film as a Green Beret. So luckily I have something to draw from. And again, that's, you know, we're making fictional movies 9 times out of 10. So it doesn't have to be like, well, this is how they would do it. You know, that's one of the things that a lot of military people kind of F up, is they forget it's a movie. It's not a real recreation, like field manual handbook turned into film. It's a movie. There are some things that get a little ridiculous. I apologize for that word. That get a little stupid because, you know, like some of the way people hold guns in movies. I was just watching The Walking Dead season 8 last night, and still this is a sheriff who should know how to hold a rifle, and he still holds it like just an idiot. So stuff like that, that's a whole nother thing. But so trying to keep myself on track. Sorry. When it comes to special skills and acting, add to them. But the thing is, you know, it costs money to go take lessons to shoot guns. It costs money to go take lessons to be, you know, a volunteer firefighter or whatever special skills that are out there. It takes time and money. So my argument is, if I had to pick a side, I would pick, you moved to Hollywood to be an actor. You didn't move to Hollywood to be like, here's a perfect example. I didn't move to Hollywood to be a former Green Beret who happens to act. I moved to Hollywood to be an actor. All the other stuff prior is a bonus. So I focus on acting, which is an unending education and skill that is constantly being worked on. So work on that. That's the thing at the end of the day I would like to think get you the job. A great actor can fake being a Green Beret, especially if it's a Green Beret for a fictional show. You know, it's not like they're it's not like they're vetting you with other Green Berets or other firefighters or other doctors or whatnot to see, hey, is this guy really, really real? It's a freaking movie. So they need good actors who can portray that. Dr. House, I thought he kind of nailed it. And he's not a real doctor. The actor himself might have some life experience to add to it, but he didn't have to learn how to say duodenum, you know, or he didn't have to come in knowing that already. And for those of you who don't know, duodenum is somewhere a part of your intestines or something. It's been a while, but I could dust it off if I need to. So yeah, it's really hard because I don't feel anyone deserves a role because they happen to have a special skill. They should find out, if the casting directors should find out if they can act first, and then they go, oh, this guy can handle a gun? Bonus. This is why we want this guy, because he can actually act like the character we want, and he actually knows how to run around with a gun and act like he knows what he's doing. But it shouldn't be the deciding factor. If they have 2 actors that if you could actually put them on some sort of scale, and they are like, oh, they're the exact same acting scale, what's going to make or break us? Well, this guy was raised, you know, in Orange County and has never touched a gun. Okay, well, this guy was a real Green Beret. No, let's hire the real Green Beret. But beyond that, I think acting should always take precedence. And I think I might piss off a lot of my veteran friends, to be veteran filmmaker friends, honestly. And I respect differences of opinions, but I think they're wrong. The veterans and prior firefighters or former doctors shouldn't get preference. They shouldn't get preferential treatment. It should be noted for sure. But acting, it's called acting. It's called acting. I just can't say that enough. So for those of you discouraged by like my, that your experience is like my firefighter experience, where you had to be a real firefighter only to make a salad in the commercial, and it was a national commercial, made a lot of whoever got the role made a lot of money. So it was a bunch of bull crap. I actually know one guy, 1 degree of separation. He said he was a helicopter rescue crew, and I have enough experience to say I could audition for that too. We were at the same audition. He got the role. He has 0 experience doing it. And in his defense, though, he worked the system because the commercial had him sitting in a plane hangar with a helicopter in the hangar, not running, nothing, and a little girl ran up to him and hugged him. That's why he had to be a real air rescue crew member. It's a bunch of bull crap. So, promise, I'm actually not in a bad mood. That's a topic I'm extremely passionate about. So, to summarize, work on your acting if you have the time or the resources of the friends. Work some trades. I have a friend. I actually need to get a hold of him because I'm being a bad friend. He helps me with my dialects. I'm not great at accents, but he also needs to learn how to hold guns because every TV show or movie right now is gun related. So we kind of scratch each other's back. He helps me with some dialect stuff when I get auditions or roles that require dialect, and I need to get off my butt and get him to the range and teach him how to handle guns competently. So stuff like that, I would say do that. But at the end of the day, if you have money or the time to go to an acting conservatory or an acting program versus a 12-week shooting course, go to the acting program unless you're trying to be Rambo. I don't know. Funny choice of words. But yeah, so act. To be or not to be. Be an actor, not a skill guy. The rules of the gym and fitness. This is a little ranty, but I'm not trying to come across negative. But these are some things, if you're new to me and my podcast and my life, 2 biggies I think y'all should know.
Okay, I'm gonna get a Bowflex. I'm gonna commit. I'm gonna get some dumbbells.
You know you can't eat dumbbells, right?
2 things I wanted to discuss in the world of fitness today. Number 1, I say this out of support for so many of my friends and peers that fall for this, and I say this because I care. DETOX is bullcrap. I fell for it once or twice. No, just once. And there is no science. I looked at every major reputable site like the Mayo Clinic, .org places, edu places, actual science places, not, blah, 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 get rid of your tummy and 10extrastep.com. None of them say they work. Now, what are detox diets or fads or drinks or cleanses or whatever? In kind of to amalgamize them all, for those who don't know, basically it's some sort of drink or process you go through to quote unquote detoxify your system, and it's touted as doing everything from helping you lose weight to body fat to feeling better and more energized, better skin, better soul, aura. I don't know. But they're crap. And here's the little bit of science I have is actually, no, this is just based on all the stuff I read because I'm not going to sit here and quote science. If they feel like they're working, there's a handful of reasons. 1, it could be because the process of detoxing, quote unquote, is because they've got rid of, a X amount of time of eating like shit. So yeah, if people say they feel better, it's go eat a pizza, see how you feel in the morning. Eat healthy for a day, see how you feel the next morning. You're going to feel noticeably different. You're not going to feel as heavy and sluggish and gross. So if anything, there's anecdotal outcome because they feel better, but it might not just be because they detox. It might be because they quit eating like shit for a focused amount of time. And in the same lieu of that, it also could be a caloric thing. As when they're fasting or detoxing, they're going to end up having less of something. So there might be a weight loss, and especially if they're only drinking fluids and doing one of those detoxes, you're going to lose weight on the scale because all you're going to be doing is pissing. So that's why you might quote unquote lose weight. And you won't lose body fat. You're based on the amount of fluids you lose or whatever, your body composition might alter a little bit. But again, no long-term person, bodybuilder, ultra marathoner, or whatever, their success didn't come from a fancy little 7-day cleanse. I've yet to see or anything online in all my little outlyings of fitness seen it work. Like, I guess knock yourself out. I'm not a doctor. I don't advocate them. I don't think they're worth your time. I think they're a gimmick because it falls under my rule of fitness. If it's too easy, too good to be true, it is. Take before and after pictures, do body composition, run your labs, go to a laboratory and get a major health panel, which by the way aren't cheap and most doctors probably won't prescribe, so your insurance won't cover them, and do a before and after. I'm betting your kidney numbers might be a little effed up because you just forced them to do a massive amount of, apple cider vinegar through your kidneys. But I'd like to actually see diagnostic results of how it is. And if you're all of a sudden going from like eating like crap to doing this detox thing and you claim all of a sudden you're healthier, well, yeah, you kind of are. The same could be said for if you eat like crap and then just start eating like healthy, you're going to maybe feel better. Your bowel movements might be better. But with that being said, on the bowel movement topic, if you're considering it, there's also some dangerous side effects. That limits a lot of them are going to limit your protein because that's dangerous. You need that for so many reasons. You're going to feel fatigued, so you're going to be all like on Instagram talking about how this fasting thing's making you exhausted. It's because you aren't eating enough calories. As a result, also because you might be flushing your system, you're going to be having vitamin mineral deficiencies because you're just shoving that crap out. You can run into, looking at this, a lot of this is from the Mayo Clinic. Here's an interesting little point. Your kidneys and liver are made to detox you. You already are detoxing sitting here listening to this. And colon cleansing, if you're, depending on how crazy you're going on the detox, that amount of like light switch detoxing can cause cramping, bloating, nausea, vomiting. Dehydration is going to be through the roof. So again, if it's too good to be true, it is. That's number one. Feel free to email me, fans@jeffbosley.com, and let's fight. And number two is for anybody new to the gym. I don't want the gym to be an intimidating place. I love the people that defend the out of shape people at the gym, because those are the people that need to be there, and those are the people that are overcoming getting to the gym. If you're all pretty and look great, it's not hard to go to the gym. You're less intimidated by the world there. So I respect and admire the people that have a lot of intimidations and a lot of trepidation going into a gym. But here's a rule I want you to know, whether you're new or old. On the side of dumbbells, there's a little number sometimes. In this example, let's use the number 3 and the number 5. Those mean 35 pounds. So that little number, the little rack that little dumbbell goes in, it's freaking crazy. There's also a little number on that rack that coincidentally is the same number as that number on the side of that dumbbell, a 3 and a 5, 35. What you do with those is you match them, just like you were in grade school when you had to match stuff that was the same. You don't even have to know what a 3 and a 5 are. Treat them like symbols. Match the symbols. There's a thing that looks like half an 8. There's a thing that looks kind of like an S, but with right angles. Match that with the other thing that looks like half an 8, and match that with the other thing that looks like an S, but with right angles. Boom. You have put the dumbbell in the right place. That is called racking your weights. So, if you need a video for that, or if you need to send a video to that to your friends, help them. Friends don't let friends be morons at the gym and not rack their weights. I want to own a gym where I will actually spend the money to implant RF signals that basically, if it doesn't go in the right spot, an alarm will go off. You get one strike, and then you're out of my gym. If for some reason you get to 3 strikes, like you slip the system, you get smacked in the face with the weight you didn't put away. So if you didn't put away a 120-pound weight, Mr. Cool Guy, I lift a lot, and you put it in the 5-pound slot, I will bash you upside the head with a 120-pound dumbbell. That'll be part of your waiver you signed in to get into my gym. I say all that with a hopeful tone of comedy and sarcasm. But no, I really believe it. You don't put the weights away. You're a product of the devil. If I try not to toxify myself with it, but if I took pictures of how often I see a 120-pound dumbbell, the 120, in the 5-pound dumbbell slot. I've actually watched people do it consciously. Like, I will take out whatever weight, let's say 80. I will watch some D-bag put away the 30 there, 20, whatever, the wrong one. And I'll look at him going, you just watched me take these away from the right spot. Then, here's the worst part, is I go, no matter where I get my weight from, whether, let's assume it's the wrong spot, I will go put it away in the right spot. And if something's in the way, I will get rid of those dumbbells in the way, set them on the ground. It's not my job to put those ones away because that's a downward spiral. I could be putting weights away, and putting weights away because it's not all the weights in the wrong spot anyway. So I'll clear the spot, throw them on the ground, kind of maybe in the vicinity where they go, but it's not my job. It's the person's job who did it, and I'll put my weights away. And if somebody has a problem with that, I'd love to hear their argument. The argument would be, wait, you didn't put those weights away you didn't use. Correct. I put my weights away that I used in the right spot. So yeah, passionate rant today on fitness. Number 1, quit detoxing and cleansing and trying to cheat your way through something that doesn't happen, because all you're going to do is crap your guts out, pee a lot, and spend a lot of money on chasing the dragon of hope. And number 2, match those little symbols on the side of things that match the symbols on the side of things where you put things away. It's not rocket science. You don't even have to be literate to do it. My heart goes out to you. I wish you the best. Friend talk. Today's friend is a really fun person I've met. This sounds always really shady, but it's a really pure, fun experience. I met at an airport, Jenny. I'll let her explain how we met and how it went down, because everybody's perspectives are different, and I think I was just made a fool of myself. But we've been friends since, and thanks to social media, we've been able to keep in touch. And this person is possibly one of the most energetic and optimistic people I've ever met, and she constantly amazes me. So here is my conversation with Jenny.
What? Did we just become best friends? Yep.
All right, cool. So as always, this is the friend segment of the show, and today I'm talking to Jenny. She told me to call her Guinevere. And long story short, I brought it up in an intro that you didn't hear yet, but I said we met in an airport, and then I was like, well, that sounds really, really shady. So
yeah, but some of the best things happen in the shade. I'm just saying.
I thought you were going to say the best things happen in an airport, and I was like, I don't know, what airport have you been? What airport have you been to? So, I met Jenny, not Guinevere. It's pushing maybe, 2 years? Now I feel horrible. 2 years ago? 2+?
Honestly, I don't know.
I think it's 2 years ago. 2 years ago.
Sounds great.
Yeah, 2 years ago, and I've actually honestly already forgot what airport it was at. I don't travel that much.
I haven't. It was at one of those crappy ones.
Was it LAX?
No, it was. We landed in LAX. I think it was Chicago, maybe.
God, that's so crazy. It makes me sound like a world traveler, which I'm the exact opposite. I don't travel at all.
Well, it was a big day for me because I started beef with United.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. This is the woman that while we're on the plane tweets United and gets like special privileges via a tweet.
This is what Twitter is about. I mean, Jeff, come on.
I can't get Hugh Jackman to reply to me, but you can get United to give you free tickets.
You just have to be. Well, first off, their employees have to mess up.
Okay, well.
And then you just lean in. Then you just run with it. It's like an Olympic torch. You got to run before that thing burns out.
What exactly? Bring me up to date. I can't even remember what exactly happened with the whole event.
So I'm pretty sure, let's just pretend like I didn't say the airline, but I'm pretty sure someone
I'm not
from
that famous.
An airline that we'll just call Utopian Airlines, where nothing bad ever happens.
Aw, sounds lovely.
Right? Someone from their airline decided to take pictures of me.
That's right.
Straight up.
That's right.
And
so gross.
Oh, it was nasty. And it was to the point where, dude, I can see that you're outside of plainly hearing the click.
Wow.
I can see your phone screen when you walk past me. So, what is your excuse? And so then I just took pictures of him and sent it to Utopia Airlines via Twitter.
This is astonishing.
And then I met you, and were you in a wrist wrap at that time? Is this one wrist? Yes.
Oh God, that's right.
I was that weird person. I was like, you look familiar.
Yeah, I try not to pat my ego too much, but this might have been the one sighting where somebody happened to really like a show and happened to kind of maybe recognize a person that might have been a doppelganger of a person that kind of looked like somebody on that show. When in reality, I was that guy. When in reality, I was like really the person on the show. So I was like, oh, I'll go home kind of happy with this person that got Utopian Air to give her free tickets or free what? What did you get out of them? A free ticket?
They gave me like more points on my mileage plus. I mean, my mileage wows or whatever.
You need to start an airline called Utopian Air with pilots named Guinevere and so you can mileage wow points. People will be like, whoa, what happens on this airline? They get mileage wow points.
Oh, I feel so sorry for your listeners right now. They're probably like, who is this crazy lady?
Oh, this is awesome. Okay, well, hey, let's start back in the beginning. Tell us about you. What's your pitch? Yeah, who are you? That's
okay. So hey, everybody. I'm Jenny Leigh, and I am. Who am I? That's a great. Now I'm gonna go into.
Now we're into like philosophy. No crying.
Someone call Mark Maron. Let's do this. Well, for one, in case you couldn't tell, I listen to way more podcasts than I should.
Thank Christ.
You what?
I said thank Christ. It's stuff like that gives me a chance.
You got this, man.
I do.
And I am a fitness professional, and I am basically a Pepper Potts. Meaning I am a get stuff done kind of girl. When I met you in the airport, I was actually coming back from India, I think.
Oh my God, I don't remember that. That's awesome.
Yeah, I was on tour with the dance fitness company for quite some time.
God dang.
Yeah. And I currently live in New Orleans, Louisiana, and I am living it up.
What's a day?
And I am staring at my apartment wall.
Awesome.
You know, if you're really interested. And it's freaking awesome. It's the best wall I've ever seen on this side of this specific wall.
Well, that's the one thing is you strike me, and I mean, that's the thing is we only had our 15 minutes of time in the airport before you started hassling whatever it was called, Utopian Air. But the time we have interacted, I don't know your past, but you can look at a blank wall and find optimism in it. So that's the one thing I take away from our interactions is I don't know if that's hopeful or sad, but at the same time, no matter what, you can find the whatever they call it, the silver lining on anything. Thus, at least in my interaction, or maybe you've just faked me out this whole time.
Oh, well, but isn't that part of it, though? Like,
well, trust me, I live my life based on disreality.
Like, welcome to my TED Talk. Isn't part of being optimistic, don't you have to fake it sometimes?
Well, yeah.
And it's like, I find, so in fitness, you meet all these people that are basically bananas.
Yeah.
And they're, especially in this age where there's so much filth and crap on Instagram and Snapchat and this is what we do. Like, we have to, whether you're in fitness or entertainment, you're still involved. And if you're a human and if you enjoy being social, which I'm on the fence about it.
What, on being social?
Yeah. People, man, they are not like, they remind me of those things in Harry Potter sometimes. Those, I don't know what they are. They're like hovery. Someone right now is screaming at their car radio.
Yeah, because it's funny because you're the second person to bring up Harry Potter today, and it's the second reference I don't get because that's the one thing I haven't seen.
Okay, so let me me tell you in Jenny Brain what happens. Dude has a little crazy forehead, and he's magical, goes to magic school, learns magic things with his magic friends, and then somebody else doesn't like it, and then that's it. And then something happens. I don't even know how it ends, but it doesn't really matter. It takes 8 whole DVDs for it to end, and by then, I'm thinking about something else. So...
It's kind of like when they make fun of Lord of the Rings in one of the Kevin Smith movies, where they're like, he's like, it's 3 shows of somebody walking, and at the end they throw a ring in a volcano.
Right? Yes. It's that, except a little bit for kids and way more magical.
With magic school.
But there's this part, and these little dudes, like, I would Google it right now, but I don't want to make clicky noises.
Oh.
There's these dudes, and they're probably, most of them are women, let's just face it. And what they do is they, like, hover around, and they get really close to you, and then, like, they suck the life out of you.
Oh.
And it's such, like...
That is social media.
That's why I don't like being social.
Yeah.
You know? Because when I come home, I'm like, oh, I need to sleep for 3 days.
Oh, for sure.
Because I just gave myself to random strangers that don't really care anything about me.
Well, that's what I was going to say, is you spend your day, I mean, one way or another, whether you're literally motivating somebody or you're just genuinely encouraging somebody. I'm no expert on the human condition or the human psyche, but I spend an hour doing that, and every 1 unit of one you give a person probably costs like you 3. Like it's disproportionately draining. So do you spend your day like actually? I mean, because I know you do like the spin. Forgive me if I'm saying it wrong, but it is essentially some of your stuff is spin related, and then outside your actual like motivational stuff, like you spend literally your day somehow motivating or encouraging or pep talking people like all day long, like all day long.
Yes, I'm like a Care Bear.
Well, and not to count like the people from like L.A., California texting you with boo-hoo texts, and then you got to motivate that poor bastard from a distance. So
that one's easy. You just send like the perfect emoji. Like, emojis have made
conversation way easy.
Emojis have changed the way I coach.
Ah.
So, like, from a life coach perspective, if somebody's like, oh, you know, whatever, today was terrible because blah, 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 I didn't get my way. Because that's really all it is.
For sure.
Then you just send them like the I don't know emoji. And then say, oh man, that sucks. And then your job is done. Boom, I'm a life coach.
We've gone all the way back to hieroglyphics, where one image can like emulate an entire conversation that you've already had. Like you even send me, I mean, I'll confess to it. She'll send me the flashlight. Like there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So I'll be having a little mopey thing. Jenny will send me a little flashlight thing, and I'm like, I remember that's those 19 conversations we've had, all summed up in a nice little emoji. And they'll see that, I'm like, she's right, and then I'll move on.
But we all need someone like that.
For sure.
You know, and
well, who's that for you? How do you keep going? Like sooner or later, the Care Bear has to run out of the Care Bear stair fuel.
Oh, it makes me so happy you know that.
It makes you happy. It makes me kind of sad. I might need you to send me the...
There you go. There's my fuel right
Yeah,
there,
you need to send me the flashlight emoji now, because I just made a reference to the Care Bears that was slightly educated and a deep cut.
All right, you got it.
Send me the flashlight.
I'll put one on your tab right now.
Thanks.
Yeah, so who helps me, basically?
Yeah.
It's always random. Honestly, I feel like, you know, there's your dream thing that you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can wrap your mind around that, because lucky for me, I'm so incredibly blessed to be ADHD. I'm so blessed because I don't spend time on the specifics.
Oh, so you don't dwell. Like clinically, you're not able to dwell.
Yeah, I can't. I'm like, yeah, okay, there's a problem, and I've already forgotten it. Like, I'm basically an Etch-a-Sketch.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
If I just shake around a bit, then everything's better, which is also science. Like, motion creates emotion, right?
Yeah.
So that's why so many people can go and spend 3 hours in the gym. They don't need to immediately, consecutively all the time, but they do.
Yeah.
You know, and they do because they feel good. But for me, because I've kept my spectrum pretty broad, like I've never said I want to be a doctor. I've never said I want to be a fitness professional. I've always said I just want to make the biggest impact I can make on the world.
Wow. So you kind of reverse design how you want to help people. You didn't say I want to be a doctor to help people with their health. You said I want to do this thing, and what are my my I don't know, mediums that are going to get me to do that, whether it's fitness or motivational speaking or etc. That's rare.
Sort of. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like that, except it turns into, okay, I want to do this. So I want to make a big impact. Okay, so that means that in every little thing, I need to make a big impact.
Good Lord. And
right?
So how do you? Like it seems, it feels not in a jaded, the world's doomed kind of way, but it's got to be ridiculous. Like I think it's the same thing, and I'm not to be like braggadocious for either of us. I think there are some people, the people that don't like to help others. I'm not saying they're bad people. It's just some people aren't like necessarily wired maybe to consider that a thing in their life. But I think people like you and me and a lot of people I know, we like volunteer work, we like charity work, or we just like stuff. We get the reward of seeing others bettered somehow, simply put. But how do you not get, like, I mean, like last night, for example, I went to a new charity or kind of volunteer thing. I loved it, but I was exhausted. And so, like, it's funny because I hate it because it's like to have somebody say, oh, you're tired from volunteering, you poor little sunshine. But it's weird, yeah, because it feels like you got to go to those things with like the cranked up to 15 when that's like hard to sustain. You can't be at that level all day long, yet it kind of is. So, do you like take a day off, or what provides you what you provide others?
I find that so. All right, so let's go ahead and reference a whole bunch of things. I believe. So there's another podcaster / amazing human / hardcore being named Gary V, and he always talks about how humans are ROI. That is our return on investment.
Oh, okay.
And so it never fails. Call it karma, call it God, call it jelly bellies. I don't care what you call it. But every time, Jeff, I am low and I get as high as I am, like as much energy as I have, when I go dark, oh God.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it seems like the pendulum, it's got to swing the other direction proportionately sooner or later.
Right, but it never fails. Lately, when I am on track, when I know, okay, I'm in the pocket.
Yeah.
I will get a text, or like someone random will come up to me and be like, oh, I saw you're doing a thing.
Oh.
And it's like an instant recharge. Prime example, no joke, this week, I've been going through some stuff, so I'm opening up a spin studio of my own.
Oh God, business.
Yeah, and I mean, as most of your listeners and you can tell, like I'm a big picture girl, big time, and I just want to do it, and I just want to have fun, and if we do it and we have fun, then it's gonna be great, right? Well, not always. And so lately, the reality of that has been kind of hitting me.
Oh. And
it was one of those weird moments where it was super, super quiet. And my phone, I don't normally keep it on me, but I just got this random message. No joke. I go to bed at 8:30.
Oh, you're old like me.
Oh, yeah. Well, I love early life.
For sure. Yeah, I don't do it because I don't want to be up late. I do it because I want to be up early.
Yeah, and I find so much value in that. We'll come back to that in a second.
For sure.
At 11 p.m., I get a text, and it was like, blah, 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 blah. One of my clients going through some stuff. I'm not close with this person, but they're close to me.
Okay. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Like, I'm there for them, but they're not really in my life, so
Yeah.
it's cool.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, this person's like, and I will read you verbatim. She says, "Thank you for being so supportive and someone I can really talk to. I didn't expect it, and it means the world to me."
Oh, lightning bolt for you, for sure, huh?
And it was like, wow. Number one, thanks for not texting me before my phone was on Do Not Disturb. Because then I would have to talk to you. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Also, thank you for telling me.
Yeah.
And really, like, that's kind of a huge part of what my life is about.
Mm-hmm.
I will tell someone immediately when the thought hits me. I'm telling them, "Hey, I was thinking about you.
Yeah.
This and this and this.
Yeah.
Okay, bye."
For sure. And I think, yeah, I've experienced it with you recently, and I also, up until just literally hearing you talk this very moment, I've kind of been gratitude is a lost art, and it doesn't have to be like you said. Just the fact she texted you, I would imagine, gives you this crazy lightning bolt of like, that's why, and then you can go to bed. You don't need, it doesn't have to be like some grandiose party, just a simple text. And I always try to think like, because my little litmus test, because this business I'm in, it can be inherently extremely realistically selfish, or appearance wise it could look very selfish. So I actually very consciously, in any interaction, I try to make a very conscious effort. I do make an effort to I do it to text or even just shoot somebody like what I would want to do if the roles were reversed. And they might even like roll their eyes because it seems so trivial, or they might actually have your experience of going, wow, that was cool, that was simple, and it gives them a reason why they helped Jeff or gave Jeff this connection or whatever. Like I don't the fact value, there's a weird depreciation of value with gratitude in our, I think, current society and our current world for sure. And yeah, I had a friend that said, and it's exactly like your text from your client, is that like I was dragging ass, and she said something like, well, what if all of a sudden you got a call that you just won $1 million? Your heart, I mean, you just would, that energy, literally and metaphorically, would just put you through the roof, and that's an interesting way to look at it. Like somehow if you get that text from your client, or if, you get like some, loan for your business, or I get the role of my dreams, it's weird how all of a sudden things drift away and you're all suddenly re-energized when you thought you were in the darkest of dark with zero motivation and energy, and it's an interesting way to, if you could force your head to be in that headspace, that would be nice.
Yeah, it's hard to, well, and when you're very much not there,
yeah,
you can't get there.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And
It's not easy to climb out.
Why I send you that emoji.
No, it is. It is. Yeah. It's a literal light at the end of the tunnel. It gives you a little bit like, there it is. That's why.
Yeah. And the thing is like it's only good for as long as you let it. Number one, like I can ride that wave for a long time. Like I'm a pro surfer when it comes to riding the high. I'm like, we did a good thing? Hell yeah. And then I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm good for like till something terrible happens.
That's good. Yeah.
Be, a few days or,
good.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
But it's like that terrible thing, whatever it is, it's all about perspective at that point. And then I can go, okay, but I did have a really good thing. Like this good thing is, no matter what, it is on the timeline.
Wow.
So when I draw the dot for this bad thing, it's going to be, I need to consciously make it smaller than this good thing.
That's just, I'm speechless because like I've witnessed that after meeting you, and then just kind of obviously keep in touch over social media. You definitely, well, hell, it's funny because some of your pictures actually have, like a blur effect to it. And that's literally how you come across, as far as like a bajillion miles an hour of energy, where I just want to put my hands on my face and go, oh my God, so much positivity. How does she do it? It seems so tiring.
Well, okay, so let me let you in on the dark side.
Uh-oh. Oh, of course.
I am a total loner.
Awesome conversation with Jenny. That's part 1 of 2 because we are long-winded mofos. So part 2 will be Monday. In the meantime, have a great weekend. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed yourself. Please, 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 I'm not exaggerating. Feel free to chime in on anything and everything you want to do with this show. Fans at jeffbosley.com. If you're part of Patreon, or if you want to be on their website, you can chime in under the comments section. Feel free to chime in there, and I'll design this show accordingly. It's a constantly adapting thing. I just kind of pulled the template out of my butt and am rolling with it. So this show is for you. Please enjoy it and help me design it to make it more fun for you on your commute or in the gym or whatever you're using it for, to hear my voice in your brain. So thank you. Go have a great weekend. Go forth, conquer, kick ass, be relentless. Adios, folks.